excited.
Food stamps gotta be stolen.
This one feels like deja vu with a side of stress. SNAP is finally back after the government shutdown, but the second the lights came on, Congress slid in a whole new round of cuts under that one big, beautiful bill. And yes, that name is ridiculous, but let's stay focused. States are rushing to issue the missed payments, like Alabama, which said folks should have seen their benefits hit on November 14th. But here's the other shoe dropping. USDA sent out guidance that pushes a whole lot of people off SNAP immediately. Work requirements just got way tougher. Able-bodied adults under 65, no dependents, you're now having to prove you're working at least 80 hours a month in school or in training. If you can't prove it, you get 3 months of benefits. That's it. Parents with kids under 14 are exempt, but once those kids hit 14, those parents are probably pulled into the work requirement pool too. And then here's the part that's blowing people right now. Groups that were always exempt no longer are. Veterans, people experiencing homelessness, young adults aging out of foster care. They now have to meet the same work rules. The only full exemption still standing is disability. Then we get to the immigration changes. This is where things get cruel real quick. Only citizens, nationals, Cuban and Haitian entrants, and COFA citizens are eligible. Green card holders facing a 5-year waiting period unless they're under 18 or have a military connection. Refugees, asylees, and trafficking survivors are losing benefits entirely. These are some of the most vulnerable groups we see accessing basic nutrition support and healthcare. So cutting them off isn't policy, it's harm. All of this took effect on November 1st. So people are already being dropped. And then from a nursing lens, food insecurity is directly tied to chronic disease progression, medication adherence, ED utilization, and mortality. Congress knows that. They passed it anyway. So that's the update. Brace yourself.
According to the reporting, the 42 million Americans that Donald Trump cut off of food stamps will now have to reapply in order to get food stamps. Apparently, they're going to have to restart the eligibility process all over again from scratch because they're trying to, quote-unquote, overhaul the program. Mind you, to qualify, households must be at or below 130% of the poverty line. By the way, it's fucking insane when the literal definition for poverty is the state of lacking the financial resources and essentials for a basic standard of living. Literally for the fucking government, you can't even be lacking basic necessities. You have to be 130% lacking necessities in order to get the fucking resources. Which in 2025 was $15,000 for a single person, $26,000 for a 3-person household, and $37,000 for a 5-person household. It will require those 42 million Americans to complete an online application, submit pertinent documents, proof of identity, citizenship, proof of residence, proof of income, household expenses, medical expenses. And then those same applicants are going to have to complete an eligibility interview, wait for a state verification, then wait for a decision from the state, which typically takes about 30 days. They're not even going to get the same amount of benefits that they were getting before because benefits have been cut. So if you remember, Trump's big bullshit bill, which passed in July, cut an estimated $186 billion from SNAP funding through 2034. But don't worry, the money that's not going to feed families and children, they told us is going to a better place. Tax cuts for the ultra-wealthy.
I feel like these people sit around and try to think about how they can make poor people mad or how they can make poor people's lives worse. Because nothing that these people have ever come up with or put in place make any kind of sense. Now, according to the article that I read, they found 186,000 people who were receiving food stamps that were deceased. Now, this can only happen if the people were elderly or if they died from some sort of tragic accident and the family doesn't come in and report that they're dead. So instead of fixing the broken system, you make people reapply. And how is that fixing fraud? And then they want to talk about saving taxpayers' dollars. You want to save taxpayers' dollars? Then figure out how are people able to steal people's food stamps online before they even had a chance to spend it. And then the system now has to come and reimburse people food stamps that somebody else stole. Because this makes makes no sense. People already have to reapply every 6 months and every year in order to continue getting their benefits. So the only people who kind of get a little leeway is the elderly because they're older. They may not can come in as much as the other people can. So I could understand and see where that 186,000 fraud stuff come in. Then another thing, if they're going to implement this, then they need to pay them case managers more money. Because a lot